Raymond, it is an absolute honor to actually be in your presence.
Thank you.
We have literally just talked outside the fact that this man has so many accolades, so many awards, that he is, it's just phenomenal. And your favorite one?
Third, so was the latest one. It's like when you play your latest dish, when you do the first thing, something beautiful. And 2 nights ago, I received from the Whirlpool Committee, which is the highest level of luxury, British luxury, and they gave it to this award to a Frenchman, which is rather nice. It's really good, eh? And it's called the Visionary Award, which is connected. Years ago, I was already involved because of my parents, because of the culture I received, the region I lived in, what my parents gave me. Effectively, I wanted to create an environment in a beautiful hotel where the garden is the very heart of the place, where sustainability, management of waste, management of energy, create a luxury which is totally inclusive, and equally as well, training, growing young people in a safe environment where you would want to send your children to our industry. And we know too well, we've seen too many of these horrible television programs where you see a bully chef completely undermining a young kid, humiliating him. And it is not what we want to do. And if you come at Le Manoir or at Brasserie Blanc, our team the team is a nursery to grow young talents, male or female. And I'm also proud to say we have now 57% of young women who work, young and older women, who work within Le Manoir. What does it mean? It's not man against woman, let's forget about that. It's about having created an environment which is safe, which will teach, train, cross-train, grow young people, so these young people can go with total confidence, and we support them, we measure their growth, so eventually they become generals or field marshals within our industry. Absolutely. So it's not anymore a man's place, but we want to create a modern industry which is going to be, all my young people in the kitchen work and the front of house, all guest-facing chefs and front of house work only 44 hours a week. And I know it's a lot but in our industry, believe me, it's so little. And 4 days a week, 3 days off. So that does allow social life. That does allow. So then the impact of that, you have 95% of retention of your team. When you have your team and you keep them.
Can you say that a little bit louder? I like this, 4 days in and 3 days off.
Yeah. And in our industry, it's pretty rare, I can assure you.
Absolutely.
So 95%, very little illness. Of course, because when people are happy and they're looked after, they're nurtured, okay? Because the young are weak. And too often, the old boys and the old girls, this young generation, they're lazy, they don't want to learn, they're dismissive of this. Whereas if you have a good mentor, it's amazing, and you have a bit of patience. And I had to learn to have patience, because you can see I'm quite an excitable, passionate Frenchman. So, and that you have helped me to be patient, because your nation is quite amazing. You have so many lovely qualities that you have given me in so much so that I could say that I'm 130% French. And 100% is what my parents gave me, my region, and the 30% or 40%, I'm not very good with mathematics, okay?
That's all right.
Is what my British friends have given me: patience, humility. You won't believe it. I can smiling. 100%. Ask my assistant here, and my publisher here, Kate, and how patient I am. Humble. I learn how to listen whilst other people speak. Well, in France, everyone speaks at the same time as they listen. So when we lose at rugby, I will shake your hand. That's the kind of extraordinary Frenchman I am, which shows again my humility.
You're a new breed.
And it took 54 years to achieve that, you know. Hey, it was hard work, you know, very hard work.
Well, Raymond.
Anyway.
Raymond, I'm going to ask you a few quick fire questions. I want to get to know a little bit about you and the way that you're around the kitchen, but also a little bit of what you are outside. So, what sparks your creativity outside the kitchen?
Again, we go back to the beginning. Parents have a huge role to give a child, shape the morality of the child, his willpower, its the ability to respect, love, discover, okay? And my parents basically definitely were working class people. My papa built his own house, okay? It took him 7 years in a big house. Actually, this is a lovely story.
We'll go to quick fire later.
Anyway. No, my father wanted 7 children. So he went to my mom, said, Mom, Annie, I'm going to give France and General de Gaulle 7 children. That's how men used to talk years ago, okay? And she said, no, Maurice, 5. Yes, Annie. And he built a house for 5 children, a big house, double plot, and a huge garden, because gardens were cheap. And we would grow the food for the whole year. So effectively, I understood Earth, the nature of Earth. I understood the deep importance of seasonality, varietal. When my mom sent me in the garden to get some potatoes, she wouldn't tell me, Raymond, get me some potatoes. No, get me some rat potatoes. And I knew it was rissoles. Get me some Maris Piper. I knew it was French fries with a steak, maybe. I was lucky. If she gave me binges, it would be fluffy, beautiful, pure potatoes. So there was a deep knowledge of varieties, a deep knowledge of the soul, not the soul, the soul. Okay, and so effectively, and food was an act of love. Food was an act of love with huge respect for all these values I just gave. And that's what I brought in Le Manoir. That's what I brought in Brasserie Blanc. That's what I gave my young people. These kind of values which were not, I mean, to say that Le Manoir created garden to plate is crazy to say that. And we were the first business to grow a huge garden, a 2,500 strong orchard, a garden which grows 150 varieties of vegetables, a herb garden which grows about 80 varieties of herbs, you know, a Japanese garden, Asian garden, a micro-herb garden, etc., etc. And we're the first. But yet, our grandparents were already growing their garden to feed the family. So it's picking up, basically. So being credited for having been the first to create a huge garden to plate. Now, it's ridiculous because, of course, our parents were doing it much before. But what is so beautiful is to see British chefs now who, having been through, because the culture in Britain in food was not so great.
A bit beige.
Okay, and we were lost, completely lost. Those kids were lost. They did nouvelle cuisine and messed it up completely because they understood nothing of it. Then they moved into fusion cuisine, and that was a complete mess, mixing a turbot with raspberries, etc. You know, all sorts of horrors. Then they went into molecular gastronomy. They understood nothing about science. Okay, and it was a mess. But through that mess, these young people, and I know I've trained more than 50. These young people,
Can't go into that, because then we won't cover the rest of my questions.
This is the last bit. I'm finishing. So this adversity, have learned, and now you see this amazing British chef, world best, who are now reconnecting with their farmer, with their fishermen, with their local values, with their local fooders, and a huge creativity. And that is amazing. And now they can challenge any great best chef, but they had to go through, and we always often learn through challenges, ordeals.
Yeah.
And they have. And I'm so proud of it because I've got so many of them now who are all across the world, especially in England, of course, doing an extraordinary job. Anyway, so
You know,
something which bothers me here.
What are you sitting on?
Guess what?
I have this.
Is that thing here?
No, we need that.
It's not very
We need that. You can
it's
put
not
that next to
comfortable.
you.
I'll put that here. Oh, God, what a bad idea. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to remind you here, quick fire questions. You can't go into the rest because otherwise you'll take all my other questions. What is the first thing you do when you step into the kitchen each day?
First, I step in the garden because the garden is the way I cool down. I just relax, look at the plants, breathe, feel the beauty, the harmony, the place. So then I'll go in the kitchen and say hello to the breakfast chef, okay? Take a little slice of bacon, maybe, okay, on the side, okay? Munch it up, okay? And check the state of the kitchen, which must be, it should be like a hospital. Because you know the first rule of having a great kitchen, whether it is yours or mine, is health and safety. It is hygiene, so it must be gleaming. Of course, we use all surface of stainless steel. So that's the first thing. So then I meet the chef, we talk about the day, etc., what went yesterday. There's always a big catch-up all the time, passing on knowledge between each other, yeah.
Nice. Is there a dish you love to cook at home but you would never put on a restaurant menu?
Why are you so complicated? Okay.
I want to know. I want to draw out things that I haven't read yet.
God.
I threw him.
Just a moment. Let me think. Okay, that will take 1, 2, 3.
The timer in front of us is going down. I can come back to that one if you want
yes,
to.
Yes, please.
Okay, deal. Fair enough. Do you have any superstitions or rituals before service?
None whatsoever.
None?
Just ensuring that the team is ready, that the team feel absolutely in control. They know because they've been briefed as what to do, on how to do it, etc. Because for example, recipes, it's not just a recipe. It's a recipe with a full technical sheet. If I get a lamb, for example, let's talk about lamb, more vegetables mostly come from the manure grounds, okay? But meat or fish, if you talk about lamb, it will be the name of the boss, the farmer, his private telephone number, his email, number 1, okay? Then picture of the lamb, for example. Then, is it highland or lowland? Totally different. Lowland, it will be a fatty lamb. Highland, it will have lots of more muscles, it will have eaten a lot of herbs, totally different aromatics in its flavor, okay? Then, is his lamb been given antibiotics routinely or yes. Is there any chemicals in the foods? Okay, in the food in the winter, there's a different diet. So what the food is, I know everything about this lamb. What breed, of course, it is. How long it's been hanged. Okay, I know everything. So effectively, that's a training document for my team, both the front of house, okay, and the story about this farm. Okay, so effectively, you have an emotional side of the story, about the story of the farm. And it's always the best. It's always the best.
I'll expect nothing less.
But I wish I could tell you stories because stories color, that is dry. If I tell you that a young man 55 years ago came in my kitchen at the 4 Saisons, tiny little place between a ladies' underwear and Oxfam, and I can tell you the ladies' underwear in 1977 was nothing to do with agent provocateur, okay, and between Oxfam. So then that young chef, red and white tablecloth, cheap bits of Paris on the wall, my oven had no bottom. That's how we started, with nothing. And then that young man come in my kitchen and say, oh, Monsieur Blanc, I had never had a meat like that, never. I said, oh, that's very, very nice. What do you do in life? I'm a butcher. I said, exactly what you are. You're a butcher. You murder the food at least 3 times, choosing the wrong breed, never hanging the meat, so it's beautifully red, but it's not tender, it's got no flavor, etc., etc. Go to France, and I send him to France, okay, and that man now has become the king's butcher. He stayed 2 years in France,
Wow.
and he's one of the very best butchers in UK. So
Wow.
see, that's a little story which validates,
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Do you have a favorite kitchen gadget?
Many, of course, nice, fat, gorgeous, sharp knife. And your knife, I will give you a little, please. Always make sure it's sharp, because if you cut yourself, it's a nice, clean cut. and the nurse will love you. It's easy to put together. But if you have a knife which is blunt, oh, what a mess it does. It's not pretty. The nurse will not love you. And it will take you at least 6 times, okay, to heal. Okay, good piece of advice. So yes, a knife. Basically, yes, knives are part of our tools.
Any modern gadgets? Any modern gadgets?
Not too many, no. Not too many. Maybe, you have these blenders which create mass with you, but not too many. There's very little. I don't want any chemicals in my kitchen.
Yeah.
All is cooked in the cuisine, and there's no. My cuisine would be very much the same. Of course, a big fat Kenwood, which will start, which will chop, and Kenwood, we all know, is one of the oldest. Sorry, I'm an ambassador of Kenwood, of Kenwood, but I think it's English as well. It's British. Okay, it's been lasting for about 100 years, and it does all the. Probably no. I'm not a gadget man. No. I remove most of the gadgets and all the chemistry from the kitchen, because if you chef, in order to have mousses, very large, they would use all sorts of chemicals, and I want food which is clean.
Okay, I like it, purist. Okay, well then I have something. There's a reason why there is a bear under my chair.
Let me help you.
Oh. And your book, sorry, apologies. I've got to do both. A bear and your book. There is a reason why Paddington is here, and this is actually a question that came a little bit more from my kids. But your marmalade that you have served at La Manoir for more than 4 decades, do you think, to be honest, would Paddington swap his marmalade for yours?
No chance. No chance. I mean,
no chance. Which way?
No, my marmalade is just divine. And now the low sugar marmalade, it's got 4 citrus, grapefruit, so for bitterness, lemon for acidity, orange for flavor. Okay, what's the 4th one? Lime for exotism, and you use all the rinds that you cook down with a bit of water, okay, strain the water and you puree it or slice it, okay, then you add the pectin, 5 grams of pectin into it, okay, and you have texture, you've got length of flavors, you've got all these aromatics, which, God, I feel hungry. Don't you feel hungry?
Just bottle it up for us so we can also have it.
And that's one of my breakfast. If I use a piece of rye bread or sourdough, it will be, of course, I must say French butter, not English butter, because it's not good enough.
Ooh.
Oh, no way. Smell French butter?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm being an agent provocateur here. Let me say, you have the best cheese in the world. You have now actually 750 cheese, while the French, that means you have reconnected with your artisan,
Yes.
okay, with your artisanat. You have more of cheese than the French, actually double, okay, which is a big problem. Because General de Gaulle, years ago, raised his arms towards the sky, said, it's impossible to govern a country who has 350 cheese. Now you have 750 cheese. And I see big problems in England very, very soon, because you've got too many cheese. So it's great to reconnect with our artisan, with our fruits. You know, it's exciting to see really there's a big movement of coming back home, producing food from home.
Absolutely.
What was the question?
So, Paddington.
No chance. No chance.
Okay, song of the moment. Do you have one?
Sir?
A song of the moment. What do you listen to? What relaxes you? What gets you out of...
Coldplay, because it's calm, it's very, very delightful. I love my French songs. If you want to listen to my playlist, I can put it on now.
To accompany the garden. Okay, a song in particular? Is there one that you love, that you return to?
Not particularly.
No?
No.
Just something to...
Maybe I'm a Frenchman, so I still love my French music. I've got a great big playlist, English as well. But it's nothing to do with food. Can we just talk about food?
Know. But you know, sometimes, don't they say sometimes, like, you know, if you play music
well,
to a plant...
Marseillaise, okay, La Marseillaise. I love to sing La Marseillaise.
Okay. You cook, but do you clean?
Well, that's the most important part of cooking, is the cleaning. And I remember too well my first dinner party with friends. I almost created a manoir dinner party. That means with 7 glasses, and about a multi-course. And I'll never do it again. And I wouldn't advise to do it again, because the kitchen was a mayhem. There was piles of plates everywhere. I had about 6 dishes, and that was really, my Natalia didn't like me very much, I must say. So one piece of advice for Christmas is coming soon, please prepare your food well in advance. Make it simple. Take my recipe for the turkey. That's the best recipe you can possibly have. It's on my website. It takes only 1.5 hours to cook and 1.5 hours to be wrapped up. It's the simplest recipe, and believe me, it is the best. So make your food very simple. Prepare dishes a bit in advance as well, so the day you don't have to sweat around all over the place. Okay, and have a great time. Okay, and a wonderful, wonderful meal. My Christmas pudding is pretty good as well.
Good to know.
Well, French one. I always used to come in France because I made my parents, big family, 18 around the table. And every year, I would come with my Christmas pudding at home through the Eurostar. Okay. And my little mom was no bigger than that. It was called Raymond Blanc, super lady. I love her so much. She would stand up and she said, Raymond, where are the Christmas pudding? Okay. And basically, we would make... and that was wonderful. So we had all the French meal for Christmas. And by the end, by 6 o'clock, when it's dark outside, the wind is blowing, the snow is high, we turn off the light and I flambe my Christmas pudding. And there's this moment where you feel almost ready to sing God Save the Queen. And I tried to teach them God Save the Queen, but it didn't work too well.
Love it. Okay, that's the round done. I'm going to move a little bit onto kind of how you taught yourself. You're self-taught, a rather unconventional path, for sure. Did you ever experience doubt? And is there a story you can tell us? And
Yes.
How did you overcome that?
It takes more than 15, 20 years to become a top chef, who understands patisserie, confiserie, chocolaterie, and all the techniques of cuisine, okay? And I was self-taught, and I only knew what my mom taught me and what my father taught me in the garden. That was not enough, so it was very, very hard. I did many, many mistakes, and I realized that my soufflé were not rising as high. My puff pastry was leaking a little bit. So effectively, what I did was to turn to science, to understand what's happening. And I bought all the books of science I could buy, could find. I went through them all, and I understand nothing, because it was written by scientists, for scientists. So I turned, very disappointed, I turned to symposium, went to a lot of symposium about science, and those people, I couldn't understand their language until a small Hungarian was a biochemist in the greatest university of Oxford. Actually, when I saw him first, he was a very small man with big black glasses and a stomach. He was small, like me, but suddenly he had a stomach which, like that. But it was not falling down. It was defying the force of entropy. And of course, quickly understood, being Hungarian, you eat a lot of foie gras, so the stomach has to work so much, it becomes a muscle. Okay, anyways, that's what. Then he talked, and this man, when he talked, immediately he was able to translate and color the world of chemistry into food. It was amazing, and I knew I'd found my mentor who would help me to control and understand what I went wrong, whether it was whisking, poaching, frying, pan frying, slow cooking, etc. And this man helped me a great, great deal. We did a TV program called Blanc Mange many years ago, 30 years ago. I was the first chef to embrace molecular gastronomy, and also the first chef to get out of it. Why? I had Eston Blumenthal in my cuisine, so Eston is for you. A great chef, huh? And why did I stop? Because for me, the table, imagine that table, and you are the guest, okay? So the table is the friends around the table. It's what is on the table, you know, the laughter, the joy, the celebrations, connecting with each other. Then on the table, you have the glasses made by craftsmen, you have the bread by a baker, you've got the wine by a viticulture, you've got the beautiful crafted by the chef, the tablecloths. It's a complete ensemble of purity, of beauty, of perfection. And nutrition, yes, is part of it, and science is part of it. But I hated the idea, and molecular gastronomy became moving science outside of this perfect ensemble, and then you create a fashion. And they wanted me to be the champion of gastronomy all across the world, effectively, and I said no. That's why I'm a poor chef now. I would be a much richer chef now. Okay? But that's the way it is. I'm going to go with my begging bowl.
Straight after.
Have you got it?
Oh, no, don't lose that. We need that.
Yeah. So this man truly helped me to really understand exactly all the denaturation process. He was the man, actually, who said, we go to the moon, and yet we don't understand what's happening in our soufflé. So a bit of understanding when you pan frying. I wish I had 2 hours with you, because we could talk about cooking and what's in that book.
Okay. Well, we don't have that very long, so I do want to cover a few things, but in particular, I want to just ask you, you have a little story in your lovely new book, which talks about how you might have told King Charles something that many probably would not.
Yes. Yeah. King Charles as well was very much involved, of course, in growing organically. And I visited his garden. I was invited to be a speaker and visit his garden for the first time at Highgrove. And I saw his garden. Yeah, they were great gardens. They were good gardens. I started to look at the varieties of vegetables. His art was a bit dodgy as well. Too much import from everywhere. So, you know, or where am I? Okay, so, and I had to do a speech. And there was about, like you, I was there, I was above each of you and above the king, the prince, which would be king. And of course, he had his hands in his pockets, and and I started my speech, giving great tribute to his garden. And he was happy about it. I said, but you have so many wrong varieties of vegetables, sir. And I would like you to visit my garden, because I think my garden is far better than yours. But being beautifully English, okay, the highest level of Englishness, he smiled. He was gracious about my, direct attack on the beauty of his gardens, and anyway, everyone had a good laugh. The journalist said their said to say. And then 3 months after, the king arrived in my garden, because I'm vice president. He's a patron of Garden Organic, and I'm the vice president. So we know each other through a number of the same workshops that we So he came in my garden. It was raining cats and dogs. Tell me what means cats and dogs. We are still don't understand. In France, we say, il pleut comme vache qui pisse. It rains like a cow pee. So it's really raining. It was floods. Anyway, it was raining cats and dogs, because I couldn't say that to him. And he said, are you sure, sir, you want to come? Certainly, certainly. So we went in our garden. And it was really a beautiful moment, because we stayed 4 hours. 4 hours. And at one stage, the gardener, it was raining, the gardener was holding the umbrella over me, and I was kicking the gardener. But the interest that he had, the deep knowledge that he had, about vegetables. And then together, we went to plant 2 trees, in my orchard, we have a 2,500 strong orchard, and I must say his tree is better than mine. But now, as I've learned to be a good loser, I say, bravo, sir.
Aww,
yeah.
That's a lovely story.
So the orchard is a huge, there are 14 gardens at the manoir, and this book is very much inspired because there's about 80 recipes which are about a garden, vegetables, seeds, so it shows because for so many years, I remember way back in '84, when I opened Le Manoir 4 Saisons, there was, I did a whole menu vegetarian.
You did?
It was impossible. Then, and plus, of course, the whole meat with full meat and so on.
Very brave.
Nobody took it. They all thought I was absolutely crazy. A vegetable in England was a garnish. It was not a dish. So effectively, it was a total disaster. My first how do you call that, trying to sell vegetables to gardeners, because we were all such a heavy carnivores.
Yeah.
So that was a total failure. But 6 years after now, we have at least 40%. In the book, you've got 80% of vegetables dishes, beautiful dishes. But in my business now, I have a vegan menu, and I hate the word vegan. We need to say plant-based, because vegan bring down, the loveliness, the deliciousness of what a good dish is. And vegetarian. So, sorry, what I was talking about? I'm just gonna.
It was King.
Yeah, selling my book. Yeah.
Talking about, this is something that you shared with me just before we came on to here. This is your Apple information chart. Now, genuinely, you have most of these planted.
Yeah.
And tell us just a little bit about this. This is quite
Again, I'm
superb.
going to insult you. I hope you forgive me. In England, we have cooking apples, eating apples. I thought, I don't want to use the word barbarian. It's completely over the top, okay? But it's maybe not so true. So first I did see the beautiful orchard because way back in England, I was filming with the BBC, and we were in Pershore, close to it's a beautiful village, Evesham. And then I visited some orchards, and all the fruits were unpicked, rotting on the floor with all the wasps and so on and so on. I couldn't understand. It upset me. And my grandfather had a huge orchard. So I understood why, because at the time there was subsidies given to agriculture, but not to fruiterers. And so fruiterers moved to agriculture, abandoned their orchards, and we lost, within 10 or 15 years, about 80% of our orchards in England. So I decided, it took me 5 years to gather a team of the best scientists, the best fruiterer. I use East Malling Science, Boxdale Garden, or Kew Garden, all the very best people. The best people, the best science, the best agronomists, the best edge people, because I wanted to recreate these 15th century English edges, you know, which is cut like that, which is still there at the Manoir today, to have the best, to create, and to have every tree telling a story about one part of your community that we had lost. And it took me 5 years of research, and we grew this orchard. And it's a gem. It's everyone thought I was crazy. For God's sake, we're chefs, we're not farmers, we're not fruiterers. Why do you go 2.5, why not 20 trees, you know? Because, of course, there was a cost as well. So everyone, I had to fight everyone, because it's always you do, whether you do a new room, which is white, you know, or which is coming from Southeast Asia, people don't understand usually. And we grew our orchard, and now this orchard provides about 7 tons of fruit. So we do our apple brandy, we do our cider, we do our pear William, our plum alcohol. We do, of course, all the thing for the apples and the pears and the quinces and the plums, etc. Give all the food for the kitchen. So it's really a beautiful thing. And it's been a hugely successful experience, and that makes me very happy, very, very happy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And you're talking about all of this, but actually the news has kind of come out that you're actually closing a Manoir for 18 or so months.
Yep.
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going first to be involved in the design, in the landscaping, in the garden. We're keeping all our gardeners, and we're going to make our garden better. I'm going to work on new varieties. Going to really be involved very much, but not on a full time. Okay. Not as I decided to move from chef patron, i.e. executive role, to ambassador. I worked 50 years of my life training, passing on my knowledge, but I realized there's always, you know, 2 divorces, 2 strokes. Maybe it was time to be a bit more reasonable. Okay, so still be involved in the business in a big way, but not to have the executive power over everything. So Le Manoir is to make Le Manoir even more beautiful, world-class, to make Le Manoir to connect with what the modern guest wants tomorrow. So progressive, okay, to bring new ideas in food, new ideas in design. It will be done at the highest level because there was 3 years planning permission. That means BRIAM's platinum is the highest level of construction. So there will be a big element, of I've been a custodian for 41 years. I tripled the size of the manoir. At each time I did a new project, I use 18th century stone, 18th century tiles, all really connecting with the beauty of Le Manoir and the British culture, because it's a British, beautiful English manor house, okay, 14th, 17th and 19th century. So I wanted, and Belmont, who's been a partner of mine for many years, understand that and respect that. And there's a huge connection here. So I'll be quite, but I still want, I never had a month off in my life. So it's always been 10 days or 3 days. I mean, Kate, who is my assistant here, knows that. Well, it's just stealing a bit of moment. So to have a whole month off will be my Christmas present.
Oh.
Absolutely, yeah. And separately, we are rebranding Brasserie Blanc. Brasserie Blanc are very important to me. I'm proud of them. They are beautiful bistro type restaurant. We have the same values as the Manoir about provenance, close to home, seasonality. I've just finished a winter menu, okay, just 2 days ago. So yes, I'm going to get a bit more involved here.
You just celebrated 30 years.
And we're celebrating 30 years of our life.
Amazing,
okay?
congratulations.
And 42 years at Le Manoir. So wow. I think I've been lucky having started as a cleaner, washer up, and I was the best washer up. I was the best, don't mistake it, the best cleaner. And then I wanted to be a chef, but then things went wrong. The chef broke my jaw with a copper pan, and that's when I was exiled to England. So I didn't come in England like Napoleon would have loved to come on a white horse. I came in England very humbly.
Raymond, I'm going to have to stop you. I'm so sorry. Our time has run over.
And we didn't talk about the book.
We did, but when you sign away to people outside, please tell them more. You have such a rich history, such an amazing impact on the industry. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for coming to the center.
Thank you so much.
I love it.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Great. All right.
Well, have a lovely Christmas time, because we soon last. And lots of happy cooking. They are simple recipes, and I hope you enjoy them. Okay? Merci.